Hey guys, my video response for the week is based off of the two articles that we read on disabilities. And just bear with me because I wrote a script down that I wanted to make sure I got all my information, so I won't be looking at the camera the whole time. With that being said, I thought they were both extremely beneficial for how short they were. Usually when we hear about disabilities, we have articles that are like pages and pages and pages, and they're interesting, but they can be kind of dry sometimes. And for the fact that these two were so short, and more beneficial than a lot of other articles that I've read was really interesting, and I really appreciated that. So to start off, I basically realized a lot in these articles in terms of realizing that disabilities are not they're not something that can be all clumped together. Like the author states, they each disability is its own thing, and a lot a lot of people tend to clump them together as an umbrella, saying that they portray different aspects of life and all that kind of stuff, and that's not the case for them. And these articles really opened my eyes to that. And so, like the author states, many times people view disabilities or people with disabilities as like puny or being a burden to someone. And that brings me to my next point is um, having characters of a story and just having characters of a story with disabilities. A lot of times they lack an actual story, a good solid story. And the author says that it's written in a way that may depict the disabilities as a negative thing, kind of like using the term burden, like I said earlier. And that brings me to the point where, when reading Dear California, Sam has Tourette's, and throughout the story, we see that he feels as like a burden to other people, such as like his mom and his stepdad, and he has made fun of it and stuff. And I think that was a good book. That was a good way to show that disabilities can be different, and they are real to people. And living daily with these kind of things, and um, having to deal with people making fun of them all the time and all that kind of stuff, it's not okay. And like the author states in these articles, that there are different ways to go about this. And um, she says that, let's see, so it's a constant reoccurrence that they feel like a burden in these stories. And with that being said, the fact that there was only 10 written between 1987 and 1991 is quite alarming, to be honest. And it's quite eye-opening to me that there is such a lack of stories written about disabilities. And having only, I think they said there was only 6 that were actually beneficial to the plot of this story is crazy to me. Um, another point that I wanted to touch on was that a lot of times the books about disabilities or the stories about disabilities aren't necessarily even written by either people with disabilities or from the viewpoint of the person with disabilities. So a lot of times they're written in terms of like the caretaker, like the author says, or people around them, and they're just a character that's on the side that they feel like they just have to throw in, like we've talked about before. And another thing is, that kind of brings me to the point of the whole authenticity and accuracy concepts. And if it's not written by a person with disabilities, sometimes it's hard because we can research and research and research, but there comes to a point where certain parts you can't really know unless you're in that position. And so it goes back to the whole topic that we've talked about with authenticity and accuracy. Um, so another part that I wanted to talk about was an article literature that includes characters with disabilities or illnesses. The very first paragraph of that article states that books serve as mirrors for children to see characters who look like themselves and have feelings and experiences similar to their own. Books also serve as windows through which children learn about their world by looking beyond their immediate surroundings and seeing characters and events that occur in other communities or other parts of the world. Um, that was a great paragraph because as much as I think I know about disabilities, I sometimes forget that other children may not, especially at younger ages, and that they get a lot of their knowledge from books. So if they're not being taught like in a lesson about disabilities, they go to books. So that's where it comes in, that they need to be accurate and authentic. And the author says that she brings up a good point when she says that if you don't have children or students with disabilities in your classroom, that doesn't mean that you can't use books with disabilities in your classroom. It should be taught at an early age, and I think that's extremely important as we go into being teachers and we conduct lesson plans. I think we need to always think about that type of thing. So that's something I'll definitely think about. And overall, these were just extremely beneficial articles, and it made me rethink how I will go about teaching these things in my classroom and how I will implement different disabilities and implement different lesson plans based on these things to help my students so they can grow up and learn about them at a young age so they understand as they get older and will encounter more situations with people with disabilities such as we have. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.